Well, good afternoon, George and Marco. Let's get going. So, George, tell me more about the Prog Lab. So, how did it start and what's happened over the last few years? 30 plus events since 2018, right?
Yeah. So the Prog Lab came about because I spent far too long going up north or to London to go and see DJs that I wanted to see. It was almost impossible to get any gigs in the southwest at the time for that kind of sound because no promoters were like booking anybody. So I actually went to a night with a couple of my friends, Ben and Thomas. Thomas is the guy that I DJ with as the Prog Lab DJs. We went to a 909 night where there was Nick Warren, Guy J, Henry Size, Charlie May, Harry, a venue called the Invisible Wind Factory in Liverpool. It's like probably one of the best ever nights I've ever been to. And we decided there and then we're just going to start a night in Bristol. So the following week we basically took a little loan out between us and we booked Quiver, Sonic Union, Jodie Wistonoff, and we booked 3 nights in a venue in Bristol. And then we just committed there and then. It didn't go to plan. The first night was pretty quiet, apart from our friends and a few other people off the street. It was there wasn't many people there, so probably about 25, 30 people for the first night. Second night we had Quiver. It was a bit more. Probably got like nearer the like 80, 90 mark. And then the third night was Jodie Wistonoff, and he's from Bristol, so he's got a really big following. We'd already attracted some people, some students to the night by then. And then we packed the club out for Jodie. And we've just kind of gone from strength to strength from there, really. And that was a 250 cap venue, and then we've kind of moved up in size, like gradually, to Loco Club, which is the main venue which we use in Bristol now, which is about 450 capacity venue. It's like a amazing. It's like a network of tunnels underneath Temple Mead Station in Bristol. It's got an amazing acoustic sound system. It doesn't have very good production and lights, but we bring those in. And that's the venue where we've kind of like really kind of like picked up and people have noticed the brand where we've booked, like we've had like Guy J 3 times now, Nick Warren, Spassinger, Tim Green, Henry Size, Joe Milando. We've had all sorts of top quality DJs that we've paid to go and see and travel around the country to see. Yeah, it's like a community, especially in Bristol now. Any event we do, you see loads of the same faces, and that's part of the reason why people like to come back. Mainly just because of that. It's not just the DJs; they just know the sound of the night, and they know the crowd's amazing. Everyone gets on, and it's a safe space for people.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good journey. I mean, over 8 years, you've taken something from 50, 80, 90 people to now this huge underground club cavern and a returning fan base with a proper family. That's so special.
Yeah.
That's a real journey over 8 years. But Marco, Gemini Sounds is a much newer project. In the last couple of years, what has been your vision with Gemini Sounds?
Yeah. Well, firstly, it's great to work with George and the guys at the Prog Lab and been following them for a long time. Trying to summarize a little bit, I guess what we're trying to do with Gemini Sounds was bring a more curated, targeted, dedicated sound into London and other cities around Europe. And we were talking about this earlier off camera, guys, but it is that kind of like groovy Argentinian Hernan Quintana inspired progressive sound, which we think isn't something you hear a huge amount of outside of some of the biggest headliners in some of the big clubs and smaller clubs around London, and indeed other cities like in Barcelona and Malta, where we've got events coming up as well. And we wanted to bring that kind of tier 2 of up and coming new wave of artists into the orbit who maybe don't always get the chance to play as many gigs over in the UK or in Europe. There's a lot of headliners, people like the Guy J and Sasha and John Digweed and Hernan, etc. And George has booked a load of those guys, which is amazing. They come and play in London. We didn't need to do an event, like George does in Bristol and London, because there's lots of places for them. but there's this whole new wave of talent, which some of them are also playing at the Prog Lab and other places. So we wanted to both run events and have a record label where they could release on the label and directly play events around the label releases as well, and bring it into a kind of tight, slightly more of a community feel as well, where the artists who release also play regular events around a slightly more narrow, deeper, groovier prog sound, which is very like I said, Argentinian inspired. So the idea was to try and find, it's always hard in London to think of something new. There's so many things happening every day of the week pretty much, but we felt that there was a little bit of a gap, particularly in that progressive sound, and we wanted to champion that in London in particular.
Yeah, it's like you're taking your mentality from grassroots days, thinking about platforming newer artists. Now, some of these artists that you have been platforming, I'm thinking Dowden and Kevin Van Rieken. What's drawn you to champion and back this emerging talent in the scene?
Yeah, well, I mean, grassroots was a lot of fun. It's definitely a step up in terms of like the professionalism and the international stature of a lot of these artists. I mean, take people like Dowden, mentioned Kevin, you got Myro as well. He's coming to our event soon. I mean, these guys play major gigs around the world. You know, Sri Lanka, Argentina, sometimes in Canada, for example, where Dowden's from. But London's a tough nut to crack for that sort of progressive sound. It is something which takes a little bit longer for. I always compare it a little bit to like a sort of a classic novel, or like a bit of a classical music concerto, whereby you don't necessarily get hooked on the very, very first page or the first beat, but you roll into it, and it's a little bit of a journey, and you give it a little bit of time, and it sucks you in more and more. In the kind of like TikTok, Instagram age, everything has to be packed into a reel of 20, 30 seconds, drop, bang, bang, bang. It doesn't always create space for, some of the guys we were talking about, they produce tracks 7, 8, 9 minutes long, right? You can't, no other genre at the minute, you have the space to do that, because everything is more about the sort of cotton candy version of music. So bringing it back a little bit, we wanted to give space to some of these artists who around the world get recognition for that, but maybe in London, because London is so big and there's so much going on, they could play to thousands of people sometimes in Argentina, but London people haven't necessarily heard of them so much outside of the niche prog geeks, if you like George and me and others. So I wanted to bring that new wave of people who are international touring artists in other countries into London and really champion that sound and give people a real sort of progressive journey. And people like Dowden, for example, huge inspiration for me, and people hadn't heard of him so much, and I'm like, this guy's amazing, he's awesome, I'd love to bring him. And every time he plays at events, people are more and more hooked into this type of sound, and yeah, we want to keep promoting them and others as well.
That's super. I can certainly relate to that. You're championing artists who are inspiring you, and artists that you believe in, and you're selling it to me, Marco. So I really believe in your vision. But you said, London is a tough nut to crack. So I've got to ask you, George. You've been running the Prog Lab in Bristol for years now. So why now in London, and why is this the right time and the right collab to do it with?
Yeah, sure. So I've always been interested in London because that's mainly it's the main city I go out. So most of the nights I've been out in Bristol over the last 10 years have been my own nights. They haven't been nights that other people are putting on, mainly because they don't book the DJs that we like. We occasionally go out for a big event, like if Eats Everything's playing or something, because me and my wife really like Eats Everything. He's a good party DJ. But yeah, I had my 40th actually in Hoxton. What's that venue called again, Marco? I mentioned it to you the other day.
Folklore, was it? Folklore.
Yeah, so I had my. That was going to be the first kind of like mini Prog Lab in London. It's quite a small venue, like 150 cap, I think. So I booked it for my 40th birthday. Sold a load of tickets. I think we nearly sold out for that. But it was around the COVID times where we kept having the lockdowns, and then they opened up again, and then 3 weeks later they were locking everything down again. So I think this was a time when we were going into lockdown like the week after the event, and loads of people who bought tickets got COVID, and I think we ended up having like 50 people there. But it was a real fun night, and always been really keen on it. In terms of like why me and Marco, is because we both like Dowden. We've said, like he's already mentioned that he's a big fan of Dowden. So am I. Played Dowden's music for a long time now. And I actually came to one of Marco's first nights. I think it was at Basing House.
Mm.
And Lavio Soleil was playing, who's also become a good friend now. And I've played a back-to-back set with Lavio as well now since that night. And yeah, Gemini Sounds was probably one of the first kind of brands that I felt aligned with in terms of kind of doing something in London. I was also a bit nervous about going in solo as the Prog Lab into London because I don't live there. So trying to build that network, like all the venues, it's always quite tricky to kind of get into the venues that would work with us. And then, yeah, like we just started trying really, and yeah, we just kind of felt like it could be a good move. And I think joining forces, it gives us both a better chance of having a successful night than just going in solo, I think.
That makes perfect sense. So bonded by a similar vision and a similar love for Dowden. It makes perfect sense. But how did you two actually connect? So how did you first meet and bring this idea together?
So I think it was definitely at that event at Basing House, wasn't it, George? I mean, I think I followed you guys on the usual way on Instagram. You kind of keep an eye on what each other are doing a little bit. You came to the event. I can't remember exactly. He was a classy guy, George. He didn't even ask for a guest list. I think he just came along with his wife, bought a ticket as well. Just came and vibed in the back and didn't make a big fuss and just was chilled and must have clocked you on the dance floor or someone introduced us, and I think we got chatting from there. And I have one of my core beliefs around Gemini Sounds is like inclusivity and working together with people. So where possible, I always look to try and collaborate on events, even if don't always need to, but just because I think bringing different but complementary visions together. Now you've got to be quite selective, obviously, because I have had experiences. You've got to be selective because you've got to make sure that someone's aligned with you. But first of all, it's called the Prog Lab, so hey, that was a pretty good starting point. Although so many things now are called prog, and then you delve into it, and it's not what I would consider prog, but like Prog Lab, it's like to my mind very much aligned. And they were looking to do events in London. We were much newer. A newer group as well, so we kind of thought working together with someone a bit more established, maybe in a different market, similar sort of idea and focus. And most importantly, though, I think, George, it's fair to say we sort of just got on because there was you might like the same music, but if you don't have the same attitude and approach and ethos as well, that's also really important too. So yeah, to me, it felt natural. Hopefully, George agrees as well. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be sat here.
For sure. I mean, I like Marco's enthusiasm. He's excited about it. I've had conversations in the past with other promoters that I considered working with, but I'm very, very picky. I'm very protective over the brand because, the Prog Lab's kind of been like outside of work. It's been like one of my main passion projects in my life over the last 8 years. So I want to make sure that anyone that I do work with has that same kind of energy and like vibe, morals. So yeah, that's why I think we just clicked. So as soon as we like had a full-on conversation, we were like, yeah, this will work. We had a little bit back-to-back session. I can't remember the name of the studio. What was it called, Marco?
Give them a little plug there. London Sound Academy. We hired because we wanted to practice on the on 4 decks, proper prog style. So we rented the studio.
It was good. I mean, yeah, we had a 2-hour back-to-back, trying to keep 4 decks, at least 3 decks going most of the time. So that was fun. And then we went and had a meal with Navin and his girlfriend.
Super.
So Navin is he works at number 90, and yeah, the three of us kind of connected and chatted about trying to put this event on. He's been really helpful in terms of setting everything up and helping us kind of organise that. It's quite a difficult venue to get a night going. I think they want like the biggest promoters who've already got massive kind of following. So Navin's been instrumental in helping us put on our first night there, really.
Yeah, super. Navin's a brilliant asset to the London scene in general. He's a huge supporter of getting good ideas off the ground, and someone that Marco and I have also become close with in the last couple of years. He's actually been my most featured guest on my radio show over the last 4 years.
Amazing.
Any other person. Yeah, super. And so this is a really exciting collaboration. And in the spirit of exciting collaborations, you mentioned before our call, you hosted Tim Green and Sébastien Léger on the same night in March 2024. Now that sounds special. Can you tell me about that one?
Yeah, it's probably one, if not the best night we've had so far at local club, just in terms of attendance. This is an event that sold out 2 or 3 months before the actual event happened. And on the night, I think we had a.
You don't get that in London, George. I've been telling him for tonight. He didn't believe me.
That was a crazy night because I think we had like over 100 people on the waiting list waiting for tickets. On the day of the event, when I was setting up at the club, my phone was just going off because I foolishly left my telephone number on my Facebook page. So I was just getting bombarded with people begging for a guest list. So I ended up having to turn my phone off, which then meant I missed loads of my friends' calls and stuff when I was supposed to be meeting them. It was a really good night. Me and Thomas warmed up and closed that night. So for me, it's one of the most memorable events because we kind of sandwiched this amazing set that they played, and they played a 4-hour set.
Wow.
So yeah, it was really cool. And both of them are amazing artists, Tim Green and Sébastien Léger. And the reason I wanted that partnership is, big fan of both of them, but I particularly like Tim's progginess. He's got a proggy groove. Like most of the times when I've seen him in Ibiza and other clubs in London, it's just like a perfect vibe, and I just love it. And it just kind of steered like the back-to-back compared to if you were going to see Sébastien on his own. I like Sébastien on his own, but I just think for our night and what our fans like, I think the back-to-back was just perfect.
I think we had a similar. It's interesting with Tim because he's probably more best known for that organic sound that he's played a lot with Sébastien, Roy Rosenfeld's like one, brilliant labels like All Day I Dream and Lost Miracles, which there is a proggy end to that, but I sort of don't consider that in my head anyway as the sort of, I come back to that kind of like more Argentinian inspired deep rolling prog house. It's a slightly different sound. Yeah. But when Tim, I heard him play on his own once at a more of a closing set at an All Day Dream event in Ibiza, as opposed to maybe more of an opening set. Or I've actually never heard him back to back with Sébastien. I've heard him back to back with like Tim, with Roy as well. So obviously there's 3 of them, so it's a bit different. And he played this, exactly that kind of deep, groovy, rolling, proggy sound, and I was like, wow, this is like really great. I mean, I love this stuff that he's played in, in some of those Lost Miracles events and the All Day I Dream. But this one was different. So when we were looking we wanted someone who, had a bit of a name, obviously, that had a following, but who maybe wasn't doing headline shows in London on a regular basis. In fact, Tim, please don't shoot us if I got this wrong. I think this might be like first London headline event. I know he did an all night long last year, and we played together at Ministry Sound earlier this year, and he's also done amazing events. I can't remember exactly, but having top of the billing, 3-hour set, really focused on Tim. I don't think there's been too many of those in London. If this might well be the first one. So giving that platform to him to play that sound in his own space as well is really part of the ethos as well that we're trying to build. Certainly with Gemini Sounds, but I think with the collab with Prog Lab as well in London, and giving people like Tim that kind of like that spotlight and that platform for him to really go and play his music in the way he wants as well. So we can't wait for that.
Definitely. From the outside in, it seems like a really astute booking as well. As we said, Tim played an amazing set at Ministry of Sound where Marco was on the same bill. I was blown away, particularly by the second half of his set. It was deep, it was groovy, it was enticing. Moments of lightness, moments of depth and darkness. It was just fantastic. Also, did we see him at the Soundgarden Cause a year and a half ago?
I don't think
All Day I Dream, even All Day I Dream.
No, it was All Day I Dream. Yeah, exactly.
And again, he's earned his stripes in London now, and I can't think of the last time he would have played a headline show in London. So that but organic fans, progressive fans, that seems one certainly not to miss, and something that he'll hopefully enjoy as well.
Sure. He actually played last year, so I think it's almost like exactly a year ago he played all night long at
Yeah,
I remember that one. Yeah,
it was.
what do you call it? Here at Altonet, it's the one downstairs.
In
Lower
fact, George,
third,
in fact, it's a bit of a full circle moment, because that was in, I can't quite remember when it was, but that was earlier in the year, and we either met there and then met again at my event at Basing House, or the other way around. But they were quite close together, and we definitely vibed and hung out on the dance floor there when Tim was playing.
Super. Team Green is so significant for your journey as well. And if I've got this right, you are closing after Tim Green at the event next week.
We are.
Walk me through it. George, how do you see that set working on the night?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I mean, I've already closed after where it was Sebastian, Joe, and Tim, but got a good idea of how that's going to go roughly. Yeah, really enjoy playing closing sets, especially back to back, because it's really fun at the end of the night. People are already vibing from the headline set, and then you kind of get an opportunity to just, it's a challenge really. It's an opportunity and a challenge to try to keep the dance floor going until 5 a.m. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Had lots of chats with Marco, shared lots of tracks on our own labels, as well as tracks that we want to play, to try and get an idea of like various different areas that we can go into. We won't be playing the same sound as Tim. We'll try and play our sound of our night, which is like just really beautiful prog music with some like dark grooves, with some really nice melodics, some nice well placed breakdowns. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That seems really exciting. Marco, are you sharing the same excitement?
Oh no, absolutely. And it's like it's always great when you work together with a back-to-back pairing, and where you just like, I mean, the way I like to do it is George's approach is quite similar. You throw a few tracks into like a playlist as a bit of a flavour. You know, obviously on the night itself, you never quite know where you're going to go, but they're kind of reference tracks. And we were actually joking the other day that we're going to be fighting each other to like play the music we want, because actually a lot of the time it's quite similar producers, similar type of music, if not the exact same tracks and stuff like that. And it's like, oh damn, I wish I was going to have that one. So it shows there's a lot of alignment, but also plenty of variety as well. Plenty of stuff that like, oh wow, okay, yeah, I see where you went with that track. I might steal that one for another day. So yeah, it's been good fun. Closing's always great challenge and a great opportunity as well. Particularly after the headliner, to keep the dance floor high. People on the dance floor, keep the energy high and stuff like that. But yeah, can't wait. I think closing's one of my, despite getting on in years and staying up that late, a closing set to me is always very special, bringing the night to an end. So yeah, can't wait for that.
Nice. I look forward to you keeping the dance floor high, Marco.
The energy high, and the dance floor full.
I've got to ask, first thought, George, which Dowden track are you feeling for this set?
I don't know what I'm going to play. I've probably got about 20 Dowden tracks or remixes on my USB.
I made a joke once about, but first of all, we don't want to give him too much of a big head. I feel like, because if he sees this, Brendan, we love you to bits, mate. But we got to give someone else a chance. But no, I did joke once that like I could just play a whole set of Dowden tracks and I'll be kind of I would have done my job. But yeah, you can't. It's like asking me to pick my favorite children, Tris. That's like, you can't ask a DJ that their favorite track from a producer. That's mean.
Fair enough. I'll look forward to seeing it on the night. I love this already.
Well, you have to wait, because there might be a new Dowden track coming out. A little spoiler alert later this year on a label not too far away from here. So we'll see. We'll see.
I've got my sneaky suspicions. So it sounds like a brilliant event. I mean, I'm certainly excited already. And this is also the birth of two brands coming together. What do you think your two brands will bring to the event and bring out of each other as a collaboration?
I can go first. I'm looking forward to just working with Marco and adding some new kind of like flavors to the palette, because it's been very much kind of like mostly my direction, but with the help of my wife and Thomas. in kind of shaping what the prog was like in Bristol. It's different in London. It's a different crowd. Marco's got a lot more experience than me, DJing to London crowds and promoting nights and just partying in London. So looking forward to just learning from the crazy city which is London, because in Bristol it's like there's not too much inspiration. I have to go elsewhere for inspiration. So I mean, like historically, I've went to Balance last summer, go to Ibiza every summer. Like that's normally my areas of inspiration. So looking forward to a new direction of inspiration.
Super. So you're bringing a global sound to Bristol, and now it's transforming this to London. But Marco, what do you think about this event? What is the Prog Lab going to bring out of the event that perhaps you couldn't do solo as a Gemini Sounds event?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think firstly, there's a track record of 10+ years of working with some of the best artists in the scene, and those artists who've gone on and becoming kind of global headliners, and many of them are tier 1 artists as well. So certainly for me to have the opportunity to work with a brand like Prog Labs, definitely a kind of maybe a step up as well. The professionalism, experience, the contacts, seeing how George goes about doing things, it's been really great. Yeah, we brought some of that London flavour and some of that London tonic to it, but running events is still running events, and what George and Amy and others have been doing has been great. So for me, it's been a great learning curve and just good fun as well. And our brands are aligned, but we do have different followers as well. Different people look at us, but bringing them together to run events more focused on prog, and we hope this is going to be one step at a time, but we do hope this is going to be more than a one-hit wonder, as it were, and that we could try and build some regularity and a bit of a series going, and some way of bringing together our two brands to really elevate the scene in London. Because like we were saying at the very beginning, the type of sound that we promote, one that does require a little bit more attention and staying power and focus, but once you get hooked in, people don't go back again. Once they get into the sound, they give it a little bit of time, and put their phones down and don't necessarily think about the next drop and how quickly it's going to come, and bed in a tiny bit. Then you don't get disappointed, and it can completely change how you see dance music as well. I mean, one of the great things for me is playing some of this music. People even at smaller events have said, like, some of these tracks, like the way it's brought together and the way it's blended using multiple decks and different sort of percussion sounds, is a completely different way of almost experiencing music without getting too carried away. And George has that attitude. We have that attitude. So bringing some of those events, elevating both our brands, and really bringing that kind of international Argentinian-inspired prog sound to London, and indeed maybe other cities in Europe. I think it's going to be great fun for this year, and hopefully many other years as well.
Some other cities in Europe.
Maybe. Little tour, eh?
It sounds like a natural collaboration so far. You're both bringing something really positive out of each other. I'm hearing, George, you're bringing your wealth of experience, and it's great that you're learning from this, Marco. But Marco, you're bringing your wealth of experience in London. You're playing to big crowds nowadays, and as you said, a thing or two about going on a party in London. And that sounds incredibly valuable to this event for sure.
Always be raver first.
How it should be.
Raver first, DJ promoter second and third. That's always the way.
Keep the passion burning. Now, Marco, tell me about number 90. We touched on it before, but what is it about this venue that you feel is the right home for Gemini Sounds and Prog Lab?
I mean, I'm probably not, I don't think I'm exaggerating, George might correct me, where this was really our number 1, second and third choice, right? We just wanted it to be at number 90. And I've been to a number of events there since they've done an amazing job of kitting it out. And by the way, it's the hideout in number 90 because there's a few different rooms there, but it's 450 capacity, really beautifully done, like wood paneling, visuals go round in a 360 way. The decks can be moved around the room. It's a beautiful space. Perfect for prog, dark enough that you can get into a bit of a mood and a groove, but light enough you can smile and see your friends and connect with the dance floor as well. And the sound is just, every place you stand in that room, the sound is as good, which is really, really important. The dynamics, the acoustics and dynamics are brilliant. So it just felt like the right place for us. It helps, obviously, that I mentioned it before, Navin Innistis, obviously he's got the connections into Number 90 because it's not the easiest place to book because it's so in demand. So it just felt like it was big enough that we could try and push something out a little bit, move away from some of the slightly smaller events that we've been doing, but it wasn't so huge that was going to be a major stress, if you like, to try and fill the sound, the visuals, the lights, everything about it really just felt right. The location, Hackney Wick as well. It's kind of, it's not central, but it's vibey enough that it's like a destination place people want to go out. But it's, you don't necessarily attract too much of the sort of wrong drunks on a Saturday night crowd as well. So it's it's a sort of perfect venue for this type of collab in my view anyway.
It sounds super. What's the size of Number 90 Hideout? What sort of intimacy or expansiveness can people expect?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think like, if you're really packing it out, you could get about 400 in there, which is,
wow.
I think you don't need 400 by any means. 200, yeah, it feels vibey, spacey, space to dance, vibey, busy, etc. So there's a bit of extra space. There's also like a little smoking area outside as well, which adds to it. So it's got what I like, kind of venues whereby if it's full, it's not too cramped. But let's say if you sell like more like 60-70% of the capacity as well, it feels great and it feels busy, and you're not worried about you need more people for there to be a bit of atmosphere. So yeah, it's a great size for that reason.
And George, have you been to the venue?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if not for Number 90, we'd have done this collaboration a lot earlier. So like we were talking about this. I mean, it's probably a year ago now. We were talking about the collaboration, and then we had a date with Number 90, I think. But I think we didn't manage to get in when we wanted to. Kind of like autumn last year. But rather than choose another venue, because I think we had a few other options to look at, we were both adamant we were going to wait. I think for our first one, it needed to be there. I love the venue. I went and met Navin. He showed me around. I love the bar. It's not just the club. Like I went there, had a pint, sat by the canal, chilling out, had a conversation with Navin, and then he showed me Hideout at the time when it was still going through a bit of refurbishment. But even then, it looks amazing. Acoustic treatment all around every single wall of the room. Amazing little DJ booth that you can move around. We'll probably move it further back, so I'm not a big fan of the 360 layout, so I probably want it nearer the back wall, so we have a crowd space here. Projector lights, that's one of the things I'll be doing all day today is building visuals for the projector. So the projector shines on all four walls all around the building, so really looking forward to seeing how that looks. DMB sound system, it's going to sound sweet. It's a 450 cap venue, so it's actually the same kind of cap venue as our main big venue in Bristol, but the one in Bristol's a lot bigger. It just has a smaller capacity because it's a tunnel underneath Templemead Station, and there's only one exit. So otherwise, it would be probably a 1,500 capacity venue because it's a network of loads of tunnels. There's like a bar tunnel, club tunnel, so it's like a
safety nightmare.
Yeah. So it's funny when I saw the club because it's the same capacity as local club, but when we have 400 people in there, it's a vibe, and it's an amazing dance floor. It's a sea of people.
Brilliant.
I think that's the step up from going from kind of like 150, 200 cap venues nearer to 400. You really start seeing a proper vibey floor going. It's like we're just from DJing on the different size floors. You notice the step up when you go to say 400 cap. I think 400, 500 cap venues. But yeah, love the vibe. You can even get food there as well. So if you turn up and you're a bit hungry, you can have like cheese and ham toasties or burgers and stuff, and neck a pint and then go into Hideout.
Sounds perfect.
Good night.
Some Tim Green juice.
Yeah.
We'll head back in again. It sounds like the perfect venue for your vision as well. What I picked up from our chat today, the quality of the sound is really important to you both. It's not about shortchanging on quality at any point. I saw a video the other day, Tim at the venue as well. What was his thoughts on the new refurbished Bar 90?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can, he did some good content on our sites and on his page as well. And yeah, I mean, I think for Tim also, I mean, he's very thoughtful about what venues he plays at. He's quite selective as well. I know when he did the his All Night Long last year, I know that was at lower third. There was, quite a lot of thought went into what venue that was going to be. And yeah, he set the time to go down there on a Friday. Like, he didn't have to. It wasn't, we asked him and he said yes. And he did some filming there and he talked about it as well. And yeah, and I don't think he's been there. He's not played there before. I don't think he's been to a party there, but he experienced it, obviously without a crowd. Can you imagine what it'd be like with a crowd as well? But was super pumped by both the sound quality, the visuals, the layout, what the room can bring as well. But sound is, I mean, this should be an obvious thing, but I just don't think it is. There's so, particularly with the smaller underground promoters, I guess, because it's hard to get good venues. Like George said, it's not easy, and I'm lucky that I do. I guess years of just being seen on the scene and building up contacts and stuff like that. Have managed to get some pretty good contacts with people. And often that's compromised. You go into areas where it's not purpose built for music. That you're bringing and exporting different sound in. It's not set up maybe by sound engineers who are maybe quite at the top of their game and whatever, and it just makes all the difference. I mean, I'd rather have half the people in the room and the sound be like twice as good than pack out a club somewhere with the sound be average. And so obviously a full club with great sound is also great for a promoter, but yeah, so number 90 definitely does that. No compromise on the sound there. And yeah, Tim saw that and really got behind this project as well, and has really helped to sort of promote it as well himself. So yeah, we can't wait.
Well, as you say, it's purpose built. There's no compromise from Bar 90, but we all recognise the challenges of smaller promoters in 150 cap venues. You're telling me, Marco, I run my events in a cave in Nottingham, 150 capacity cave. The sound treatment there is not ideal.
Yeah, it's hard to find the spaces. It just it is, and like we're lucky with number 90, but like George says, it's they're a busy venue.
It's a newly refurbished space, purpose built, and it's ready to sort of stake its place as one of the best new clubs in London, and it's certainly on its way to doing so. Marco, where do you want to take Gemini Sounds from this event? This is an amazing collaboration. Are there any other collaborations that you're looking to do in 2026?
Yeah, well, I mean, we touched upon about the international side. So there's a strong kind of European flavour. My label manager, who works with me a lot in Gemini Sounds, Mari's based in Barcelona. There's that kind of Argentinian expat community in places like Madrid and Barcelona and other places, to a certain extent in Ibiza as well. There isn't a lot of this type of sound over there, so taking the same type of idea that we're doing here into a few other cities in Europe. So we've got events coming up in Barcelona, hopefully Malta as well. And then looking a bit further afield, I'm going on a field trip to Argentina in a couple of weeks to meet people in the scene and hopefully play a little bit and just get some sunshine as well. So there could be some action there. And yeah, Sri Lanka is another place as well where prog is really valued, and the type of prog that George and I are into, and certainly Gemini Sounds and stuff like that. So I had the pleasure of playing a little mini tour there in December, and looking already in talks to maybe put together a night in Sri Lanka for December next year as well. So anyway, lots of big plans. We'll see. If nothing else, it'll be a nice holiday schedule. But hopefully we can get some events off the ground as well.
Phenomenal. Sounds like a great set of plans you got there. The sky really is the limit.
The bank account is the limit, mate.
Yeah, just put down in your hand luggage and go around the world. George, what can people expect? So I've personally never been to a Prog Lab event. I can't think of the last time I was in Bristol. Yeah. As a new raver turning up to the Prog Lab next Saturday, what can people expect?
Well, I mean, it's going to be new for me as well, because this is a brand new kind of venture. I'm trying to insert as much of the kind of Bristol Prog Lab sound as possible into the night. But this is why it's a new thing. It's not going to be it's not just a Prog Lab. It's a Prog Lab Gemini Sounds night. But I believe it's going to be very close to what a Prog Lab would be like in Bristol, which is amazing, melodic, dark, groovy, progressive house, high quality sound system, good people. This is the thing I love about progressive house. Most of the people you meet are really intelligent, clued up people who love this music. Same kind of crowd you would see at, say, Balance in Croatia. Yeah, really nice, friendly people. No trouble. No kind of idiots trying to cause fights and stuff. You don't kind of get that at any of our nights. So I'm expecting the same again with nights with Gemini Sounds.
The only fight's going to be over me and George over which tracks we get to play.
Yeah, Marco's the bit of rowdy, the bit of rough in the event.
I've already shotgun a few. When we've had WhatsApp conversations around ideas for the set, I think I've already sent 2 over saying, by the way, I'm playing this before Marco.
Yeah, he's got in there. Fair enough. First come, first serve.
You both seem so excited to be playing together. Is it a 2-hour back-to-back?
Yeah.
It'd be great. Also, though, giving sort of like decent set times as well. I mean, it's also kind of important. Like, I think a lot of I understand why sometimes hour 45-minute sets I've seen. I mean, I know sometimes an hour and 10-minute set. Trying to fit sometimes too many people in, and that's fine. There's a time and a place for that. But just again talking about us trying to and then with the back-to-backs, obviously you have a chance to platform a few more people, but also give a bit more time. So we've also got Altai and Innistis who are opening. They bring that kind of like organic into progressive sound, which would be perfect to Tim. And then there's the sort of more slightly darker prog sound that George and I will close on. But everyone's got 2 or 3 hour set times, and the back-to-backs is not 2 DJs, just playing their own stuff jammed together. It's actually like one unit as well, and we work really hard on curating those back-to-backs to give that proper sound, because I do think in the progressive music that we champion, it doesn't work over too short a period of time, because it does need to build. You've got to let it breathe. You have to give it some space, and I think that's a really, really important part of the kind of core musical values that that we have as well.
2 hours, 2 hours really. Sorry, yeah, 2 hours minimum. It just doesn't work. It's too short, and then it's too stop-start. Every event I go to where there's hour sets, it always feels a bit disjointed, and particularly with progressive house, people like to get in the zone. They like to get in the
I think it's the music. I think it can work in other genres a little bit. I think it can work in a bit more of them, and it does depend on the lineup, obviously. But I think in this particular type of prog that we're championing, it's difficult to do that in less.
Yeah, I think prog needs room to breathe. Prog, the songs tend to be longer, the breakdowns are more involved, or it's more of an expansive sound. Whereas melodic, you can jump a little bit more with a different energy.
Exactly.
You don't go to a prog set to dip your toes in for half an hour. You might catch 4 or 5 songs in that time. Really.
Oh I think that's it. The songs. Yeah, I think that is one of the big differences. You completely nailed it, Tris, and hopefully we can get people on that journey.
Yeah, it will be a journey. I think that the mixing is longer, the breakdowns are longer, and I think each set will have room to actually. And you frame it as a journey and a collaboration. You will see that over 2 back-to-backs for sure. Very exciting. So aside from this amazing event coming up on Saturday, we have an amazing spring and summer schedule coming to both Gemini Sounds and Prog Lab. George, what does summer look like for you?
So I've got one big gig before the summer, which is John Digweed in Bristol. So yeah, I don't want to talk about that too much because I'm trying to focus on Tim Greenlight on Saturday. But yeah, just briefly,
little John flex there from George.
Yeah, John Digweed's been like one of my heroes for a long time, since I was a teenager, really. So to be able to get a talent like that in Bristol is pretty amazing. So
we've got him warming up at the next Gemini Sounds event, haven't we, Chus?
Amazing. That'll be an amazing gig. And when in the year is the Digweed gig?
Say again, sorry.
When in the year is the Digweed gig?
May the 2nd. So May bank holiday, but it's already sold out. So the event's sold out in like hours. There's already about 100 and something people on the waiting list for that. So wow. If you haven't got a ticket, you're probably not going to be able to come. But feel free to join the waiting list, and you never know. And then the summer, looking forward to Balance Festival again. Last summer was probably the best event I've ever been to. every single DJ that I loved was playing. It was unbelievable. You even had people like Hanan Catania just walking around the crowd. Me and my wife actually came out of our apartment one morning, and he was just stood right outside our apartment door. So I was like, "What's going on?" And then we just chatted for 5 minutes. But yeah, definitely, anyone who loves progressive house, I'd definitely try and get over to Croatia because it's unbelievable.
See you there, mate.
For sure.
Flights booked.
I feel like all my friends are going to Balance this year, and I will have to live vicariously through Instagram yet again.
Well, we can sneak you in the hand luggage.
It's possible. Marco, what does your summer look like? No doubt there's another trip to a far-flung location to champion Dowden and progressive house.
Well, there's a bit of that going on. Yeah, well, we've got a next event in London at Basing House on 3rd of April with Dowden and Mayro, brilliant Argentinian DJ from Buenos Aires and producer. They're coming over, and we're putting on a few events with Mayro around Europe, like I mentioned in April as well. And then cooking up a bit of a summer schedule. Got some festival planned. Balance, I'll be there. And Juna Deep Explorations, that's just more for fun rather than like for doing anything with the Gemini Sounds out there. And we're cooking up a couple of different things for later on in the summer as well. So watch this space. Nothing yet announced, but we've got a few interesting things planned for late in the summer and the autumn as well.
Sounds exciting. George, just to wrap up for us, if someone's on the fence about coming on Saturday, what would you say to them? How would you sell it?
So, I mean, most people are on the fence because they aren't sure what the crowd's going to be like. So, I mean, have a look back on our socials, have a look at our reviews on ticket sites like Skiddle. You'll see that it's raving reviews. Everybody has a good time. Sound system is going to be on point. It's the most important thing for me at every event that we do. The people will be really fun. Music will be top draw. If you haven't seen Tim Green before, then now's your chance. Next Saturday. Fun.
Exciting. Marco, can you do one better? What's your final sales pitch? People on the fence for the weekend.
Come listen to brilliant prog music.
That bit out. I lost my head there.
Brilliant prog music. A burger on the terrace and then a pint afterwards. What more could you want?
And it sounds idyllic. Absolutely brilliant. And actually, I've got one more question for you, a bit off script. And this is a question I always love to ask to get in the minds of DJs, producers, and promoters. What is one track on your USB that you wish that you'd created yourself?
Ooh.
I'll go to you first, Marco.
Oh God.
What's one track that you just hold and think that is so beautiful, so moving, or just got that perfect groove, and you're like, I wish I could have made that myself?
So there's one of my favorite tracks. I'm actually really excited that he's gonna do the first EP on our label as well. Rausch House. There you go, a little spoiler drop there. Rausch House, the German Maurice, German producer. There's a track called Pitch Black, which I've been playing out, I don't know, for about 5 years, pretty much at every set almost. So I'll probably play it on Saturday. I'll see. It's just got such an amazing groove to it, and it really brought me into the sort of like slightly harder end of driving prog. And I never could have got anywhere near producing it because I'm not even a producer. But if I was, a track like that, which is just never gets old, not for me, and the crowd always loves it as well. So yeah, I'll give a little shout out to Rausch House.
Perfect. George, is there a weapon on your USB that you would love to take ownership of?
I mean, anything that Guy J has produced in the last 4 or 5 years, really. I think most producers and DJs would say, especially within this type scene, that he's the master. Even Dowden would say that he's probably the best producer of our generation. Worlds Apart, unbelievable track. And prior to that, I mean, some of the tracks that stick in my mind that are on my USB, but I never get a chance to play. The tracks like Sasha Wavy Gravy, unbelievable tune. Every time I listen to it, it just puts me in a good mood. But our sound's kind of moved on to a point now where it just doesn't really seem to fit the kind of times. the time that we like, the energy of our nights. But yeah, probably those two, I would say.
Fantastic. Such an insightful question. I always find you always learn a little bit more about who you're talking to. It's fantastic. Well, I guess now that's all for us.
Nice.
Very much looking forward to. Well, I have to come on Saturday.